Are you a roof camping scumbag? Do you bring in more loot than you know what to do with? Then fear not, I have the perfect base for you. This base has two disconnectable TCs that function as shown here. Depending on how you raid the external, it can average from either 6 to 8 rockets. This is the upkeep here, and this is the same with the other one. Alrighty, now moving into one of two gatehouses, you can see we have super basic yet very functional windows that lead both inside and outside of the compound. Our wide gaps aren't anything too crazy, yet they give you perfect coverage of the entire compound, providing you with perfect raid defense for those crazy onlines that we never get. And here we have one of our two entrances. Each of these lead to the third floor of the base. This is just to ensure that we have a higher rocket cost than if it were to be on the second floor. These here are entrances to the shooting floor, the same as on the other side of the base. We had wood roof ramps just to ensure that we can see all the fobs in the distance, and our wide gaps as shown earlier. This is the bedroom floor here, plenty of storage and space for beds. And jumping onto our roof, you can see we have our battery up here, space for 2 turbines, plenty of room for a mini, and some decent angles. Jumping down to the second floor, you can see that we have 2 loot rooms, each with windows. This is just to act as a form of honeycomb. And down into the core, we're greeted with all the box storage you could ever need, and our very cheap main TC upkeep. Now, let's show you how to build the base. Beginning's nothing complicated, it's just a generic 1x2. However, our airlock is not going to be there, and instead it's going to be sealed off as a jump up. As a starter, this base isn't the greatest, as you need garage doors to create the airlock. However, in the long term, this is a much stronger way of building the base, hence why there's the jump up and not just single doors. Also, design the core however you'd like, and I'm placing the tier 3 because it fits very similar to any workbench, and it doesn't matter exactly what you place there. And for your starter, just place your furnaces wherever you feel like they'll fit, and it's all up to you. Now, I cannot recommend enough that you should upgrade your base as much as you possibly can with whatever resources you have, just so that you don't lose all your hard work to early game raiders. Now, I'm upgrading everything here to the final grade, just to show you what I think everything should be in the final stages of the base. Now, just to hide all of the materials that we've used on the base, we're just going to do some basic honeycombing with triangles all around, just to hide what we've got and also to make the base a little bit stronger. Now, this part of the base is definitely the weakest, as it leads straight into the core basically as you go through the airlock area. However, if you armor it, it's definitely still going to be an expensive raid cost, and it keeps the overall base cheap for the shape that it's going to be. Now, just note that this half wall is part of a jump up. It's supposed to be twig. I completely messed this up, so do not copy what I've done there and just make it twig. Now, this next part is where I seal in the second floor. However, if you don't have the resources or ladders or anything yet, just leave some of these walls missing so that you still have access to the second floor by placing the half wall like shown before. And you'll just be able to place some double doors and whatever else just to give yourself more room and a stronger raid cost. Now, this frame on this square here and then the walls around that would be perfect just for expanding the base slowly if you don't have those resources like I just mentioned. However, if you got everything, just continue to follow the video like I'm doing. Once again, I'm still upgrading everything just to the final grade. You don't have to do this, it's all optional. Also, if you find that window frames are annoying to use or just hard when you have to keep pulling off the windows and repairing them, feel free to use, garage doors here. It doesn't really matter. It's all up to you. By upgrading this triangle to sheet and then this window as well, it forces the raiders to have to break with either 8 rockets or soft siding for an extremely long time. So definitely worth doing rather than just sheet metaling the outer wall which also makes your base more obvious that it's got more loot in it. Now that everything's secured, we can drop down on one of our two entrances and begin placing our airlock. This here is going to be the chute, and this is what we're going to place our ladder in order to reach the 3rd floor and increase that raid cost by a substantial amount. And now just repeat the exact same thing on the other side. These single door frames will become the entrances to our shooting floor. Now just go ahead and seal everything in. Placing our last jump up here. Then just fill in all parts of your roof. Here we're just placing the beginning triangles for our shooting floor. Now at this point, just fill in as many doors as you can. Now here's how the base should be looking from the outside. Personally, I just like to add these frames for my shooting floor here, just before I forget them later on. They're not exactly extremely important, but they definitely help. Now onto the fun part, we're going to begin our wide gaps and externals. Begin by placing a square, then a triangle, another square, and then a triangle. This makes the triangle straight away from the base. Then we're going to place 2 squares off of this, and then a triangle at the end. Remove everything else, and build back in with half moon triangles like so, up to this point where you place a square foundation and then a triangle, getting rid of everything else. Now here we place another triangle, and then off of this triangle, either one, place a square, followed by another triangle. We're then going to add frames, just so that they don't decay once we connect them to a TC. Build a square here, and this will become part of your gatehouse. As you can see, we place windows here. However, you don't have to add this straight away. Now from this, placing a half moon of triangles, a square at the end, and then 2 triangles. We will wall this all in, and then place our TC. Now these need to be half walls in order to make the stability work for our disconnectable TC. This square can be any material, however I leave it as wood for upkeep reasons, and because you only need it if you get raided. Now by placing at least this front single door frame, we can connect our disconnectable TC just by placing the frames as I've done here. Once you're at the final stage of the base, I personally like that part upgraded just to increase the cost of the external. Also, when you're not building this on a build server, it's preferred that you build that TC first just to avoid getting griefed. And don't be an idiot like me. Now I'm upgrading these frames and everything just to keep the external connected with 8 rockets to destroy it rather than the 4 it would be if it was still stone. Realistically, it doesn't necessarily matter. Now you just fill in your gatehouse like I've done here, nothing too difficult. And I'm sure that none of you will have any issues with that. Now just copy the exact same thing here on the other side. Now that that's all complete, we can begin to work on our wide gaps. Coming over here to either side, we can begin by placing a square, 2 triangles, and then another square. Removing the excess ones, doing the same on the other side. If you have any trouble, just slow down the video and copy me exactly. Now for our frames, just make sure we place them on the inside foundations and just closest to the wall, just to ensure that we're providing stability and not placing useless frames that just raise the upkeep. Now just do the exact same thing on the other side. With both sides complete, the base should look like this. Now come onto the shooting floor and we can begin to fill it in. Just ensure that you're attaching everything to the frames and not to the base itself. And now just fill in every space with a window. Once that is complete, just place embrasures on all of the windows. Then just fill in the shooting floor, attaching everything to the wide gap side and not to the base itself. Now it's up to you if you would like to add wood floor frames or even stone to your shooting floor on the squares here. It doesn't matter, personalize this however you'd like. Now up here on our roof we can build our spot for our battery, plus our roof ramps and also our turbine. Now when placing our roof ramps here, we want to make sure we're attaching them to the wide gap side and not to the base itself. However, where there's no gap, just place it straight in the middle. You can't mess it up. Now you'll find that sometimes these ramps don't want to place, they can be a bit finicky. Just keep wiggling around and eventually you get the right angle for it. Usually it's easier from side on, so just give that a shot. Here's where we place our turret pods. If you want an easy way to climb these frames when you're putting the turbine on, I like to make netting just to climb easily. And for placing the turbine itself, you may need to just go on a bit of an off angle for it to fit. Now back down in here, this is how I personally fill out the bedroom floor. Feel free to alter it however you'd like. Now the easiest way I found to do the compound is just to go up to one of your two entrances, grab your wall, and line yourself up, then look as far out as you can, placing it like so. Then simply just go in a straight line, and you'll find that the compound are lined up very nicely in a sort of rectangular and square shape. Now simply repeat the same steps on the other side. Thanks for watching. Now make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.